The three paths to inner freedom. In a distant land, there was an ancient mountain known as the Helix Peak, where legend spoke of three travelers who each took a different path to reach its summit. The journey to the top was said to reveal the secret of true freedom, freedom from fear, doubt, and uncertainty. But no one had ever returned from the peak, and so the legend remained a mystery. One day, three people, a warrior, a scholar, and a healer, decided to embark on this journey, each with their own reasons for seeking freedom. Though they began on different paths, their destinies were intertwined, like three strands of a single helix, each one rising toward the same summit. The first path was the steepest and most treacherous, chosen by Aaron, the warrior. Aaron had spent his life battling external enemies, but his greatest foe was one that couldn't be conquered with a sword: his fear of failure. Despite his victories, the possibility of defeat haunted him, robbing him of peace. As Aaron climbed the steep mountain trail, he faced fierce winds and jagged cliffs, but each time he stumbled, he picked himself up, his fear pushing him forward. Along the way, he encountered a wise old man sitting beside a boulder, unmoved by the storm. The old man spoke, "You fight against the wind, but the mountain doesn't care whether you succeed or fail. It stands, as it has for centuries, untouched by victory or defeat. Why do you fear what you cannot control?" Aaron paused, his heart heavy with the truth of the words. He realized that no matter how hard he fought, he could not control the forces of nature, nor the outcome of every battle. What he could control, however, was his courage to continue, regardless of fear. With this new understanding, Aaron pressed on, not to conquer the mountain, but to conquer his own fear of failure. On the second path, Leona, a scholar, traveled alone. Her journey was not as physically demanding as Aaron's, but it required a different kind of strength. Leona had spent her life searching for knowledge, believing that if she could understand everything, she would be free from doubt and uncertainty. As she climbed the winding path through a dense forest, Leona came upon a library carved into the side of the mountain, filled with scrolls and books. She eagerly read each one, but as the sun began to set, she realized something troubling. The more she learned, the more she doubted her ability to ever know everything. The pursuit of complete understanding seemed endless, and with every answer came more questions. Frustrated, Leona sat down by the entrance of the library. As she looked up, she noticed the stars twinkling above the mountain. In that quiet moment, she realized something profound. The universe was vast, and its mysteries were beyond any one person's ability to comprehend fully. And yet, there was beauty in the unknown. A voice from the wind whispered, "You do not need to know all the answers to find peace. The more you seek certainty, the further it slips away. Accept that some things are unknowable, and in that acceptance, you will find freedom." With a deep breath, Leona let go of her need for absolute certainty and continued her journey, no longer burdened by the weight of endless questions. The third path wound through a valley, chosen by Mira, a healer. Mira had dedicated her life to helping others, but recently, she had begun to feel trapped by the suffering she could not heal. No matter how many people she helped, there were always more in need, and the burden of their pain weighed heavily on her heart. As she walked through the valley, Mira came across a small village where many were sick. She stayed to tend to them, using all her knowledge of herbs and healing, but despite her efforts, some of the villagers did not survive. Grief-stricken, Mira knelt by the side of the river that ran through the valley. She felt powerless, questioning her purpose as a healer. How could she continue her work when she could not save everyone? As she gazed into the flowing water, a reflection of the sky appeared on its surface, calm and serene. A voice from the river murmured, "The river flows without trying to change its course. It does not stop for those who drink from it, nor does it lament those it leaves behind. You can only do what is within your power. Life and death are not yours to control." Mira realized that she could not bear the burden of every soul she encountered. Her role was to offer care and compassion, but the outcome was beyond her. With a heavy but accepting heart, she rose from the riverbank, feeling a new sense of peace as she continued her journey, free from the weight of what she could not control. At the mountain's peak, the three travelers finally met. Each had arrived from a different path, but they shared the same destination. As they stood together, They looked out over the vast landscape below, the world stretching endlessly in every direction. Aaron, the warrior, spoke first. "I have learned that I cannot control the outcome of my battles, but I can choose to face them without fear." Leona, the scholar, nodded. "I have learned that I do not need all the answers to find peace. Some mysteries are beyond understanding, and that's okay." Mira, the healer, smiled gently. "I have learned that I cannot heal everyone, but I can still offer compassion without carrying the weight of their fate." As the sun began to set, casting golden light over the horizon, a realization dawned on them. Though their journeys had been different, the lesson was the same. True freedom lies not in controlling the world around them, but in accepting what is beyond their power and mastering what is within. The mountain itself spoke, though it did not need words. Its silent, timeless presence taught them the final truth: the secret of freedom is not found in the world outside, but within each of them. The warrior learned to let go of fear, the scholar learned to let go of doubt, and the healer learned to let go of control. Together, they found peace. As they descended the mountain, the three travelers knew that their journey was not over, it had only just begun. The lessons they had learned would guide them for the rest of their lives, intertwining their experiences like a triple helix of wisdom. The warrior, the scholar, and the healer would face many more challenges, but they would do so with a new understanding. Freedom is not about changing the world, it's about changing the way you see it. And so, they returned to their lives, free not because they had conquered the mountain, but because they had conquered themselves. This story of the three travelers teaches us the Stoic wisdom of focusing on what we can control and accepting what we cannot. Like the warrior, scholar, and healer, we all have our battles, our doubts, and our burdens. But by embracing the principles of self-mastery, perspective, and compassion, we can find true freedom within ourselves, no matter what path we walk in life.